Okay, so what I'm going to do now, we're going to start with the content. So the professional interview. And the professional interview certainly is a great challenge for us engineers. Every time that we apply for a position, we will be in a battle for a position in a company. And sometimes in the search for a first job in our area where we probably do not really have an internal reference. And it's very important to know that even if we get minimum grade in English tests, let's say that you do IELTS or PTE or TOEFL, whatever, and you ended up getting a minimum score, we gotta remember that I think at least myself, but majority of us, we probably are not native English speakers, and English is probably going to be one of our natural barriers. So, because obviously it's our second language. So we need to make sure that we have that in mind every time that we are searching for a job. Also because when we are applying for a position, let's say for an engineer position, there will probably have many native English speakers competing for the same position. So in addition to competing with many other candidates who English is their mother language, there's also the issue of them having perhaps some Australian experience in the industry. And if you're trying to get your first professional job as an engineer here in Australia, you're most probably not going to have an Australian experience as well. But the good news is that you can make few things to improve your chances to impress the panel of interviewers and then be successful in your job hunting and be selected as a successful candidate. It happened to myself. I can say that because it happened to myself back in 2005 when I got my first professional job, and in 2008 when I got my first engineering job. So I didn't really have Australian experience in terms of working as an engineer, and I got an engineer job without having an Australian experience and obviously without being a native English speaker. So it can be done. There are some, you need to learn a little bit how the panel of interviewers, they behave during the interview. Obviously you need to behave also in a little bit in a special way when you are participating in the interview. And tonight's live session is about me sharing some of the hints that I use every time that I go to a professional interview, and also from a panel member perspective. I don't know if you know, I've mentioned this a few times already, but I recruit lots of engineers and project managers in the company that I work for, and I participate in many dozens, even more than 100 interview panels interviewing engineers. So I know what I want to see from an engineer in terms of their behavior and the way that they perform in a professional interview. You are there in the interview to sell yourself. So I mentioned that in the last live session. You are there to sell yourself as a professional. So it's really important. And I said this phrase to few friends already and few colleagues at work. If we do not know how to express ourselves in English, it's the same as if we do not know anything. So it doesn't really matter how much experience you have in your own country or even here in Australia, but if you cannot express that experience or the results that you got in English very well, for the panel is pretty much the same thing that you didn't have anything or any experience at all.